Hello and welcome back to TFR eSports Season 25. We are back here for the F2 division here in Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix, round 2 of 15. I am CJH, your main commentator, joined by my usual F2 co-commentator, Epic the Animal, the two-time F1 division world champion. We are back, Epic, for another exciting round of F2, hopefully. I mean, it's a very different circuit from the opening round in Melbourne, but it should still provide plenty of entertainment.
I mean, it's F2. It should be a good race. When's the last time we had a bad F2 race?
Exactly.
Years?
But what I will say is the F3 race earlier on was a bit of a slow burner. I'm not saying that's going to be like that tonight, but it was very much more strategic, kind of dependent, and gaps formed a bit more at a track like this compared to Australia, where it's the chaos of a street circuit. So could we maybe see a little different type of race tonight?
Yeah, I mean, they're all going to be different types of races. I think Japan is a great test for drivers trying to show they have what it takes to move to F1, because two things exist at the same time here on Japan. One, it is a difficult circuit to drive quickly, so the skill gaps, there's going to be more of a skill gap on this track. Number two, there's a lot of grass and very little concrete runoff, which means it will also punish mistakes greater than some other tracks in the game. So both pace and consistency really matter on this track, so there's definitely going to be a correlation between the type of people that can thrive in those conditions and the type of drivers that will have what it takes to succeed at the next level. Also, I gotta give credit for credit's due, because of the post-race penalty and Danique not winning. Because of that post-race penalty, Codematic won last week's race. He wants a shout-out. Codematic, get in there. Your first win. I know you didn't get the shout-out last week, but you got it now, so you can stop saying I didn't talk about you. CJ, I'm ready for this one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you've mentioned that because, yeah, we had that great opener in Australia. Danique thinking he won his first ever race, but actually the stewards had other ideas because it went to the stewards room, multiple reports actually between those two drivers, and as I see Sir Spark there coming through Degner 1 with a RB right in the middle of the road almost, did very well to dodge that car. But back to what I was saying, it was a bit of a late move from Danique, which I don't actually think I even caught it on stream because it wasn't necessarily Comatic going down the inside because he was denied that by Danique. So Danique picked up a 5-second time penalty, dropped him down into 4th, which meant quite a few points dropped there. It goes from earning 30 points down to 18. So quite a lot of points just thrown away from a small error. But we're going to see a bit of that in F2 this season, particularly with safety cars a lot more common. And he has to go again. He has to try again here, Logan, and try and pick up his first ever victory.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown he has what it takes, though. Ever since joining the league, he had the pace from the get-go, but maybe the consistency wasn't there. But now the consistency's getting better, and the pace is still there. So that's what you got to do, and that's what's going to come with repetitions. But he is one of those drivers that are well on their way to becoming a staple, possibly in the F1 division in the next few seasons.
Yeah, he is very new still to TFR, unlike people like Codematic. This is his 4th season, I think, now in the F2 division. And Danique sets a purple middle sector. He did say Australia's one of his worst tracks. There's just a little moment there through 130R. And Japan is actually one of his better tracks. So let's see what the Czech driver can do here. Coming through the final corner, up to the line. Will he go on pole? No. Lost time in the final sector there.
Yeah, lost time in the final sector, not able to put it together. I thought it would have been Stan was crossing the line, but he's just starting a lap. But we got a Ruthless Guy coming around the final couple corners. Let's see if he can improve. He's already P4. Can he? No, he cannot. I think he's starting a lap. Nope, he is going for another flyer. As Chris right behind him improves by even more. 127.6.
Wow.
We are now about 4/10 faster than F3 was already. Still with 5.5 to go in the session. Kerbal dives in the pits. And we got Ellis coming through the last couple corners now. Ellis is in the wrong car accidentally, so please stream. Pretend he's in an RB with his other Ultija teammate. So both Ultija team members.
And he's off. We've got Northie off. The other RB. Speaking of the RB, he's in the barrier.
He is in the barrier. He has made a mistake and put it into the barrier, which is surprising to see, as Team Iltaju has just been the pinnacle of consistency all season long.
Absolutely. And that's a weird place to put that, you know, because they was facing the complete wrong way. And well
committed.
after the exit of the corner. I mean...
Yeah, he was committed through Spirit. Speaking of committed, holy crap, Alfie, regular corner cutting is not on, my bro. He almost hits the pin tree on the way in as well.
Close.
And Ultimate Stan coming up to the line from his lap. And he
second.
goes P2, yes.
Great
lap by Ultimate Stan. That is not regular stand or great stand. That is Ultimate Stand, the final of the stands. And we got a Red Bull coming through the final chicane. That's Code Medic, last week's race winner. May I point it out once again? Oh, that's a lot of curb, but he's coming into the pits. Never mind.
I think a lot of drivers are diving back in the pits. It's just that little crossover right now.
This guy's not. Zing's not.
Yeah, he is on a flyer, and we know using a former F2 champion, he can go quicker than what he has shown so far. Two after miles, and he's going to hit the wall, and he is in the wall.
And the wall, part of the wall that jumps out there too, so...
Lucky he didn't DNF.
Should be, yeah. I mean, we're on reduced damage, so you really gotta nail that wall. I mean, you gotta be like Dale Earnhardt, finding a wall and wearing it out to be able to DNF on reduced, but... Jokes aside, I'm American, I can make that joke, that's my excuse, I'm sticking to it. Ultimate Stan's coming through Spoon, but he's obviously on an in lap, or is he gonna go for 2 flyers? No, he's not. He's coming in.
Which is surprising on a track like this. I mean, speaking of Suzuka, we spoke about it a little bit in the F3 division. I haven't managed to check your former or previous results at Suzuka Epic, because I managed to check the NZL Cam's former results, and he hasn't won at this track. I'm not too sure if you've won at this track, but what's your thoughts on the challenges of Suzuka?
I like the track. It's a challenging track, and to me in league racing, it's that nice middle ground between being a track where you can break away from the car behind with driver skill, but yet there are places where you can overtake. It's definitely easier to overtake at this track than it is in real life. But it is a challenging track, maybe on the slightly harder side to overtake, but with the long run down to 130R in the final chicane and the DRS to turn 1, you can get the job done. And then, like I said, because there is a big skill difference on this track, as it is very difficult to drive in the game very quickly, you can kind of gap yourself from those that you are quicker than. But yeah, I definitely haven't won on this track in TFR. I would be surprised if I did, but a lot of the seasons where I had the majority of my success, or a lot of the seasons I competed in, as I missed a lot of seasons in between my tenure from the beginning to now due to work reasons, you know. I've actually probably missed more seasons than I've raced in, to be honest. I think a lot of the seasons where this track was a staple was not when I was competing, like 2021 to 2023. And my seasons where I had my success, I don't think this track was a part of the schedule. But last season, I qualified on pole, and I was leading. But then these construction workers on my road decided to snip the fiber wire to the internet on my road instead of the wire that they were working on. So that was a great day for me. But enough about my miseries and struggles. Let's check out Currabold, who's on a flyer right now, coming out of Spoon. And he's approaching the Sector 2 line, and he is up by 7/10 through Sector 2. Currabold looking for a big improvement here. He's got a Red Bull ahead on an outlap, but he won't be getting in the way. Slows it down well, downshifts the second to get that extra rotation. Pretty good on the throttle, doesn't take too much curb on the exit. I think this is going to be a good improvement for him, and he does get himself up to P10. Good job by Currabold there to improve on his time. And we'll have to look to see who'll be the next to actually cross the line for a score to lap, not an out lap. Penzug, he's 8 seconds down. I'm not a doctor, but I don't think he's going to be improving. How
about Danique here? He looks like he might be on a flyer, you know, because he's coming up to the end of the middle sector here, goes past his teammate, and he's 2 tenths up. So he could still be in contention to get himself on the front row here. And let's just see. Denied the race win last time out, but did get in the mix for pole position, which Jean-Claude took in Australia. But here comes Danique then up to the line, and he's not on the front row. Loses a tiny bit of time, and it's going to be 3rd place for him. And he surely will not have enough battery to go again. It's a Spark. Has a massive swap up in the first sector there, so he might be struggling as well. Chris is going to have a race against time here, Logan, because he's only got about 20 seconds to get to the line here, the current pole man.
Yeah, he should be good. He should be good. There's a Haas off in the final chicane, and that's actually going to
Alfie.
hold up
Oh,
Northy.
look at
That
this.
holds up Northy. He impedes Northy.
Yeah, that was
Now,
absolute chaos.
Northy wouldn't have. He wasn't up on his time, judging by the times that I was looking at. But still, got held up nonetheless.
Checker flags
What do we
out.
got next? Yep,
Here comes
tax
Kevin
collector.
Cal. Kevin Cal is next to hit the line and goes 5th. A tenth and a half improvement, and you're right. Tax collector is next on the road.
Yep. Who just got bumped down a spot to P7 because of that improvement by Kevin Cal, the former F2 champion. Now here comes Tax Collector out of the final corner. Did not see if he's improving or not. It doesn't really look like it. Yeah, he doesn't improve. P7 for him. His teammate Sir Spark, P4, he's coming up to the line, but he's down 310, so I'm going to look to the car behind him if I can get to him. Logan.
Codemanic is flying. Here he comes. Oh, a little swapper out the final corner. Here he comes then. Where can Codemanic go? 5th. Not a bad lap. Ahead of his teammate. Very close between those two Red Bulls, Logan.
Yep, and Ellis, remember, he's an RB, not a Mercedes, but he's coming through the final corners. He is improving on his own time, and he puts himself up 2 extra spots and goes ahead of his teammate. So good lap by him, putting it together and getting ahead of his teammate, the better of the RBs as it stands. And a Ruthless Guy, he's purple in Sector 2, CJ! Ruthless Guy, purple in Sector 2. What can he do through the final couple corners? He's going to do his best.
Yeah,
good
just gets to slow down.
He's onto the battery. He still has battery. This is good battery management by a Ruthless Guy coming up to the line.
Oh, wow.
Front row by 7/1000. Great lap by him. Ultimate stand. He's
Alfie
down
goes
19
5th.
seconds on the birthday.
What a lap.
5th. Oh, what is happening?
What a lap from the F3 driver, and that is it. You're right, Logan. That is it, because they've both invalidated Ultimate Stan and Chris, and that is your F2 qualifying. I can't believe Alfie popped himself up into 5th there from absolutely nowhere, considering he had all that impeded lap at the end, or he was maybe doing the impeding at the end. But what an end to qualifying. What a qualifying for Haas. But 7 thousandths of a second between Chris and a Ruthless Guy there. You couldn't get it any closer, Logan.
Haas, Sauber, Williams is the F2 top 3. Who had that on their bingo card? Now, maybe Chris, who he showed some great pace in the first race of the season. But I believe, if I remember correctly, he got involved in an incident or had a disconnect early in Australia, if I do remember correctly. So, yeah, Haas having some pace here. Another rough day for RB. And Action Rick at the bottom.
Yeah, I think
I'm
that's
looking forward to this race.
Yeah, that's a really interesting grid because it's about 9/10, I think that was, for the top 11. So I really can see some serious scraps in this race, and there was a lot of the field that was super close in terms of the gaps there. So strap yourselves in, folks. Once again, we're going to get another cracking F2 race, hopefully, ahead of us. And with such a close fight for pole, it's going to be critical. That run into the first corner, if you can stay in the lead or gain the lead, that can massively benefit you in this race if you can then break the DRS, manage the tyres, and bring it home for a brilliant victory at this brilliant circuit. But as the drivers get the setups fine-tuned here and last little tweaks on what tyre they're going to go for, the gamble here is, do you go for softs at the start and they only last a few laps or so, or do you go on that harder compounded tyre and potentially risk it in hope of a safety car later in the session? We're about to find out then. And as in F3, we've once again got an incredibly long wait here until we head to the grid. But yes, any thoughts ahead of the start?
I'm muted. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I was muted. I'm excited.
And here we go. We've got 5 red lights ahead of the drivers here in Suzuka. And we are underway. A Ruthless Guy then gets a fairly good launch, and I think he might get ahead of Chris. Before the first corner, we're going to crash. But right there at the background, the 2 cars into the wall. And there's another car off. There's a Red Bull off into the gravel as well. So absolute chaos at the start of this one. We've still got 2 cars only just getting going in the background. But a Ruthless Guy takes the lead then on those soft tyres. And so too was Chris. So that was a pure drag into the first corner. And there goes the Spark right around the outside of Ultimate Stan. And they made contact. They're both off as well.
Yeah, the car's off everywhere. And our championship leader down in 15th. Danique down in 17th. I don't wonder what happened there.
Oh, there's another one off.
CJ.
So Sparks in more collisions there. He's collided with a bunch of
Ellis is
cars
off.
at the back. It's absolute chaos here in F2.
Yes, it is. Oh, Action Rick got punted in the butt coming out of Degner too as he got over the curb. Overtake around the outside by Comedic back up to P13 as he looks to move his way back up the grid. They're battling everywhere, CJ, here in lap 1.
There are battles everywhere, and there's a good... So everyone is basically on the medians, bar 4 drivers, and 2 of them are at the very, very front here. And a Ruthless Guy then, unable to get any sort of gap at the start of this one because Chris is right on his tail. Only 3 temps right behind him. Then you have Ultimate Stand. Then Kevin Cal. I thought he was the Red Bull that went off at the first corner, but you were right there, Logan, with that spot that it was indeed Codematic. So your likes of Codematic, Sir Spark, and Danique with shocking starts here.
Yep, but Comac's going to make up another spot here as he does a little switchback on Ellis. He predicted him going deep into the chicane, so he gets another spot. And he finds his way back up into P12 after lap 1, but still a terrible start for him. This is where those soft runners, they really need to pull out this gap here early on, use that tire advantage, because Ultimate Stan and Kevin Cow are going to be in the quicker tires come the end of this race.
As Uzi now has disconnected from the session, we'll hope to try and get him back in as quick as we can. But more trouble for him then, as he suffered in qualifying. So not good for him. Tax Collector then is making a move on Kerbal Thomas, and there's another car off. That is Arthur in the gravel at Degner 2 there. And look at how much he's tumbled down the order there.
Yep, you get off in the grass in Suzuka, you got to recover, and it's not going to be just 1 or 2 positions lost. It's going to be a whole heap of them, especially early on where everyone's nose to tail. Also, shout out to Vire, or Vire, how do you pronounce his name? I'm going to call him Vire. F3 driver.
Yeah.
F3 driver's up to P5. He's doing a great job here early on. Tax Collector right on the butt of Kerbal. That's a lot of curb on the inside, though, so it's going to mess up his exit, but he's looking good here early in this one as well. Codematic with a run on Northy. Northy's up to P9. What a start by the RB driver.
Look at this for the lead. They're wheel to wheel for the lead here. There's Chris going to the outside, gets on the grass, and he's going to go wide here. That might just allow Ultimate Stand to pick him off with a switchback. Look at that. They make contact as well. But what a switchback that is from Ultimate Stand as Chris tried to take the lead here. The Williams gets ahead. They get very close down the start-finish straight again there. And Ultimate Stand will have the racing line, and he should maintain the position.
There's in the front stretch. There's cars off everywhere. It's a total yard sale. It's chunks of debris go flying everywhere. Northy involved, Arthur involved, Codematic involved. That was just a really dumb move. They all just held full throttle even though they knew they were going to touch each other. Tried to take advantage of the fact of reduced damage so they could bump a little bit, but you never want to bump on purpose in the F1 games no matter what the damage settings are set to, because it's always going to come to tears, as the Europeans would say.
Oh, dearie me. That was a huge shunt. That's twice, 3 times now. We've seen that down the start finish straight already in this race. I mean, that is crazy to see. But, yeah, there's a bunch of drivers then that have really lost out in terms of this race. In fact, look at that on your position changes on the screen there. I mean, there's so many position changes at the start of this one. Not a single driver is still where they started, and I'm not surprised, to be honest, one bit, Logan.
Yeah, especially with how much we've had drivers tumble down the order, Zing's disconnected. Man, Ellis is all the way up to 11th. Northy has tumbled back down the order. People are just moving up and down at will, it seems like. As we got more battle in here in the top 4, Chris is close to Ultimate Stan, and Kevin Cow is close to a lot of them.
Yeah, here we go.
DRS train fighting for the lead. Let's see what happens in the turn 1 as they're battling behind as well.
Yeah, so a Ruthless Guy is really not able to break that DRS because look at them. They are all over him. Codematic is into the pits. That's surely
so Spark for 9th.
Yeah, so Spark there up into 9th place. There's a bunch of cars then in the pits at the back. That is surely for repairs because of the chaos that we had then on that previous lap. But yes, it's seeming like a 4-way fight at the front. Veer is getting dropped slightly. I mean, that's maybe being a bit harsh behind Kevin Cow, and he's then got a couple of cars behind him, the Alpine does. So a real competitive race so far. There's a great shot there of all the cars still in the mix here for the very top spots in this race.
Yeah, we got a line of them, and then we also got some close battling here in the midfield. Tax Collector is sticking with Currabold, who's sticking with the F3 driver Vire, who's now pulled within the DRS of Kevin Cow. So he's moving
Oh,
forward, not backwards. We got a caution in Sector 1. I believe that was
I
from
think it's
Arthur
Arthur.
having a
Yeah.
mistake in Sector 1. And we continue on green flag racing, which is just great to see because we got a lot of battle in here to happen.
So Ultimate Stan is really looking strong here with Comatic getting a penalty further down the order. Ultimate Stan then on these medium tyres really is in a great position. A bit of a wheel spin out the final corner though, and that might just set Chris onto him here. They'll both have DRS, so I think he'll get away with it, but he loses any opportunity to try and challenge for the lead.
Yes, he does, and they're all going to hold spots here going into this lap,
Oh,
except Tax Collector looking at Curbold. Not able to make it happen quite yet. And it's definitely a top 7 group as we got 4 seconds back to Penzug and P8, and no one else in DRS of each other behind. So all eyes on the top 7.
Danique's got a major problem at the very back. He's slowing down the back straight. I hope this is not going to be a retirement because he's dropped behind Arthur now, who had a spin earlier on. So Danique really struggling. You wonder, to be honest, Logan, if some of the cars have got any actual chassis damage, like floor or rear wing damage, because some of them, he's coming in, yeah. So
I think the
on-track race winner last time out, I mean, I hope he doesn't leave because obviously he is the lobby host and he has retired. So Danique is out of the Japanese GP. And, well, after that big crash going into the first corner, it is a big shame and a double disappointment for Mercedes here. They're going to be losing 20% in their engine reliability with both cars not finishing. And I know there's a certain Mercedes driver with me in the commentary box here, which will not be happy about that.
Yeah, it's just absolutely accident. Just God shits in my dinner once again as we continue. Chris with a great exit out of the final corner.
Yeah, here he comes.
He's actually going to get up ultimate stand here.
And there he goes. Both with DRS, though, you know. So this is a drag race into the first corner. Ultimate Stan again will have the more favourable line. And he will hang it on. And he can't. He can't hang it on. Runs wide and has to just settle behind the Haas. And is lucky in some ways. He didn't lose another position, Logan.
Yeah, he was. Also, Sir Spark got Penzog for P8 as well.
And that's a great little scrap, actually, between both McLarens and both Ferraris for those two positions. It's not often you see that on the circuit for 6th and 8th there. So a great little inter-team battle going on there. So how long do we think these soft tyre runners are going to last here, Logan? Because in F3, they were about max lap 8 or 9.
I'm going to say they're going to go 9 laps. About.
Well, let's see. If that's the case, then surely they'll start to suddenly feel a little bit more tyre wear now. Is that maybe why they've just been unable to break clear of the pack behind? Because the pace advantage on those softs is probably gone by now.
Yeah, it's going to even out pretty quickly. It's hard to tell what tire, when the crossover is going to be for what the quicker tire is, but it also depends on your driving style. If you're sliding the tires around a lot, making a lot of mistakes, it's going to only increase your wear. Also, setup. Does anyone overheat their tires? Look how close the top 4 is, CJ.
It's crazy.
This one over.
This is crazy. And he dives in the pits. A ruthless guy in pits, and that is super early to get rid of those tyres. Chris then inherits the lead, and I wonder if this is going to be hard tyres on the car. It is hard tyres on the car, because that is super early. Yeah. So maybe avoiding what he thought was on the way there, which was a bit of a stampede of other cars challenging him, looking for a bit of free air. And I tell you, Logan, he's going to get it.
I like the idea, too, because we know in F2 it's more about avoiding the chaos. So if he can just stay clear of the chaos, not lose time battling people, that could more than make up a time loss of waiting to go to mediums a few laps later.
Yeah,
that feels like he's quicker and just getting held up. That as well. It could be a factor as well. So, as I say as well, like 3 freaking times. But Very almost thinks about going on the inside. Kevin Cow locks up the tires like Lance Stroll on any given weekend, but he keeps it pointed in the right direction, and he's still very close. He's up in the P4 now
really
after that pit stop. He's doing incredibly well.
A reminder, he didn't win the F3 race. He was about 8 seconds off the winner, Varga, by the end of that race. Varga most likely going to go into the F2 division come Singapore next week. But there's a bit of a gap now at the top. Chris has got his foot down on this lap, and he has got over a second gap over Chris. Sorry, Chris has over Ultimate Stan here, and maybe he is coming in the pits to cover off a Ruthless Guy. No, he isn't. He's continuing on, and we've got a car off at the very back.
Car off at the very back, that is Arthur.
And Kevin Cal gets rid of the mediums after 7 laps. Now that is just as much of a surprise as a Ruthless Guy, because he's getting rid of the mediums here. I'd imagine maybe going on to the hards. Yes, he is.
Sauce? Oh, those are hards, never mind.
I was about to say soft at the end. But yes, hard tyres on the car. He's going to come out just behind a Ruthless Guy. Yeah, that's a bit closer than I expected it to be, actually. And yeah, he's going for the same kind of strategy, Logan.
Yeah, but using the harder...
Oh, Arthur has hit the wall.
See what happens.
Not to talk over, he has hit the barrier and the hard here. He's lost the whole of his front wing. He's reversing the car, and we have a safety car.
He's beached.
He's reset to the track. But we have a safety car. Now that is going to cause a lot of controversy there, because that safety car is really going to hurt a Ruthless Guy and Kevin Cal further down the order. I mean, you were saying there, Logan, we believe he was beached, but
he was. 100%.
But yes, couldn't get the car moving, and we have a safety car.
What are the rules, actually? I know reset the track is not allowed, but what if you are beached? Is that an exception, or do you have to just hold the DNF? But then again, you'd be better off with a penalty than a DNF.
Yeah, I think you take the hit and not get beached. Yeah, you just take the penalty. Because
that seems fair. Because you still get penalized for the mistake, but you take the penalty versus a DNF. But that was going to be a safety car no matter what, so you really can't blame them. Accidents happen. Just look at my conception.
Well, they're all diving in the pits, as to be expected here. And this is an absolute gift. This is what I've talked about before. You can try and pit early and do an undercut as a Ruthless Guy now disconnects from the section. So we'll try and get him back in. Chris there, slightly delayed in the pits. Veer has gone on the soft tyres. That is surely going to be a little bit of a long way to get those tyres. Yeah, you reckon?
Safety car laps. Yeah,
that's very true.
Car laps. You should be good. Yep.
So Ultimate stands on the hards. He's got no choice to go on to those. Where is a Ruthless Guy? He's coming down the pit straight here, and he is only P5. So the former race leader is now down all the way into 5th place. I mean, that has been proven to be so costly, that safety car.
Yeah, that is costly, but P5 ain't hateful compared to what it could have been. You know, he very reasonably could have been down on, what, like 8th, 9th, possibly? So
very true.
Could have been a lot worse, and he's disconnected at the moment. So to disconnect and have a safety car come out after your pit and still be P5, like, you're not in that awful of a position, especially if you know chaos is going to happen in front of you. You should just be looking to gain some free positions here with the ensuing chaos after the safety car restart, which we know is going to happen.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's see then what happens in these closing stages. I mean, it's not even like we needed a safety car, really. The race was already providing plenty of action, and it was super close. But now, like I say, we've got a real mix of strategies. A Ruthless Guy, Ultimate Stan, Kevin Cal, and Pentug, all, and Comatic as well for good measure, all on the hard tyres. We've got Chris on the mediums, which you could argue is potentially the optimal tyres to be on here. With then a bunch at the back, all on mediums. But then, yes, we have quite a few drivers then also on soft tyres. And they're going to be a real threat here. I mean, Veer, considering he didn't win an F3, he has a chance of winning the F2 race here, Logan.
Yeah, he does. That's definitely a story right now that's forming. My money right now is on Chris. He's at a great pace. He's P1 and on softer tires than Ultimate Stan behind. Very looking good in P3, yeah, so is Tax Collector. Curbold is a penalty. I mean, a lot of people are, I mean, anything can happen at this point, really. It's just hard to tell.
Well, we're going to have another lap under the safety car then. Which will mean the back markers are going to catch the pack here. Penzog's had a little moment there going out to the start-finish straight, although Comanix is in the pit, so he's getting rid of those hard tyres. He's another one that had to pit earlier on, and it's not really helped him at all here. He may only lose a position or two, so it makes sense, but he's put another set of hard tyres on the car, Logan, which is probably just as surprising.
I'm surprised he has two of them.
I
that's,
know, yeah.
that's the most
So, when's that happened?
Where's
Absolutely.
his mediums? Oh, I guess he would only have one
Yeah.
mediums if he has two hards, right? I don't know.
So,
I don't know.
looking at the group chat, or shall I say the stream live chat, we've got a few messages about the start of the race. Ollie Bean saying F3 was a clean race, all things considered. F2 is always carnage, and I love it. There's something about F2. I don't know why. F3 on paper, people probably would expect that is going to be more chaotic than F2, considering it's on paper slower drivers and not necessarily as skilled drivers, but that's absolutely not the case, Logan. F2 still takes that crown of being the most chaotic race of the three. We've got Mo Solver saying, damn epic the animal. Ollie Bean says, Northy no. We've then also got Rekas saying, epic has been unhinged tonight. What do you make of that?
I mean, isn't that par for the course? Isn't that kind of my character to begin with? You know, I must point out to the stream, I've been called the animal since, 2009, and the name was given, not made up.
Absolutely, yeah. Ollie Bean also says, what a commentator he is. I need to hear Crofty scream hards. I mean, I don't know who Crofty is in that sentence, but I'm going to imagine that's referring to you, Epic. We also have, hello, it's Harry Barcode from last season, so hello to Harry. We're going to get back underway here, though, so back to the action. And if you are enjoying this F2 race so far, do make sure to subscribe to the
Really
TFR channel. They are bunched up a lot here because Chris is really taking his sweet time, but he's still not going. And there's a bit of contact, actually, between Chris and Ultimate Stan. Chris now decides to pull the lever and set off into the distance. And look at that down the start-finish straight. Veer really squeezing Tax Collector up against the pit wall there. He's really making the McLaren work for that third place, and he does maintain the position. But I tell you, that was borderline there, Logan. Oh, and Ultimate stands
Sir
off.
Spark. Oh, and Sir Spark got Kevin Cow for P7 as well. Side by side,
Oh.
Ruthless Guy and Kerbo contact!
So Ruthless Guy's
Keeps
race.
going up. Ah! Wait, is he a ghost car? What is going on?
He's ghosting. His race is
okay.
going from bad to worse, though, and he's
Oh,
made
no,
more
he's not!
contact. Oh, my word.
No, he's not ghosted. He unghosted. He went and ghost like that. The Danny Phantom, and then he unghosted. I'm confused. I don't know if he's ghosted or not. We continue on. Ultimate Stand goes wide through the set and Degner, or is he just doing hards and slow compared to Tax Collector? I don't know.
think he
but
is.
Tax Collector's right up his chuff. Oh,
He's
yeah, it's
really
just the hards.
struggling with a warm-up here because Tax Collector's going to absolutely sweep round his outside here and go up into third. Or no, he's not. Ultimate Stand there with a great straight line speed. The McLaren has a look again, but he's struggling like you wouldn't believe here.
Vera, he's gaining 2 tenths.
He is.
3 tenths through Spoon. He could do this.
That would be incredible. I mean, I know the F3 has only just started, but I genuinely would be shocked if an F3 driver who didn't win the F3 race earlier, as Ultimate Stand takes an interesting route through 130R there. But if he can win in F2, that would be one of the shocks of the season. That is super close, though, from Ultimate Stand and Tax Collector at the final corner there. And this is going to be a four-way squabble here into the first corner if they're not careful. Tax Collector then goes to the inside. I think the Ferrari's going to join the party as well. Tax Collector then gets the move done. So too does Carabold. And he makes contact, though, with the McLaren. And he's now around.
Yeah, also Alfie got around Northeast, so that's another position for Alfie. There's just so much happening here. Zing sets the fastest lap. He's still in the race, by the way, as both Aston Martins were unable to catch the safety car. They exist, by the way. Yeah, we continue on. Chris is breaking away. Tax Collector with a mistake. Ultimate Stand catching back up to him. It is all kicking off here, folks, in F2. We still got near half the race to go.
Severe has been dropped now a little bit by Chris. Chris has broke that DRS, which is going to absolutely serve his race beautifully here, because Tax Collector as well is almost 3 seconds behind the Alpine. He is, well, he wasn't necessarily the cork in the bottle. It was Ultimate Stand, really, on those hard tyres that has managed to form those gaps at the very top there. Ultimate Stand, if he's not careful, is going to lose DRS down the start-finish straight here, because Sir Spark now is all over the tail of him, and he might just think about a move into 130R here. He's got to run at the Williams. He's going to think better of it. We've got a yellow flag at the very, very back. I think that's Arthur hitting the barrier again, potentially.
He again.
And he has almost beached again. Yeah, he's got going, thankfully for him. And so Spark is all over the Williams here. Look at that. He's almost onto the grass like his teammate was. They have the DRS down the start-finish straight, but so too does Ultimate Stand. But this time around, so Spark has got the outside line, and he should get the move done on those soft tires. Yes, he does. What a result this is turning out to be for McLaren here, Logan.
Yeah, and what a turnaround in the negative way it's been for Ferrari. Yeah, Ferrari, they're now 12th and 13th as Penzug loses 2 positions down the main straight. Arthur's retired from the session as he was at the back of the pack. Zing carries on. Props for him sticking with it. And, yeah, we carry on.
Yeah, so
2
Arthur...
DRS trains have formed.
Yeah.
And more chaos to be had, I'm sure.
I mean, this is a disaster for Aston Martin tonight. Arthur retiring, so that's more engine wear on that car. And Zing really miles off.
Oh, Ruthless
now
got the mistake.
well.
Ruthless got the mistake under braking, and that's going to make him susceptible to Ellis, who's an RB, not a Mercedes, may I remind you.
Oh, they kept very tight there. Jeez.
And Codematics right by them. Oh, they touched through Spoon. Oh, now you guys are back on the track.
What the hell?
Now they're going back up. Now they're going, whoa, now they touch again. Whoa, Codematic using warp phasing technology. New technology discovered by Red Bull. He's side by side with Ellis now. And there's a Alfie right behind him. Oh, he saves it. How did he save that? There goes the Ferraris. They gain a position. The Tavosi go wild.
There's some serious lag going on here because there's cars
Sir
jumping
Spark
around all
and
over.
Tax Collector. Sir Spark jumps his teammate Tax Collector into turn 1.
So sweet move then for Sir Spark, and yeah, potentially a tactical move because they need to get a move on if they want to catch the top 2 because there's quite a gap now to Ver. And Ultimate Stand then is still hanging on Kevin Cal as well on those hard tires. And you can imagine the soft tires, Logan, as we were saying earlier on, they're going to start to go off by now. I mean, even after 5 or 6 laps or so, they will start to feel the pain. And he has. Look at that Tax Collector. Oh, and just keeps it on the tarmac. And I tell you, they're going to really struggle they'll get to the end, but compared to those hard tires, those tires are going to be really, really struggling.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be struggling, but the hard tire is just a naturally slower tire, but the longer the Ultimate Stand Kevin Cow can hang onto this DRS train, the better for them, for obvious reasons. And look at the gaps forming out front. Chris having a nice boring day out front as it stands. And Vera, open up a gap here. 4.5 seconds almost down to P3. F3 driver sitting in P2. He's going to get 2 P2s here. Possibly.
That is insane. That is insane. Meanwhile, further down, Comanic, even though he's got the penalty, is starting to come back at a Ruthless Guy then in 8th place. But we have got very much 2 kind of battles going on here. Rekas says in the chat, Red Bull gives you wormholes, apparently. Wormholes, warp holes, take your pick. But yes, wormholes, yes. So, lap 15 then of 19, not long to go here.
Ruthless Guy's up. Ruthless Guy was off in turn 1, lost some time, but no position loss there.
So, Ollie Bean says, disrespecting Lance Strolovich will not be tolerated. I think that might be aimed at someone, potentially.
How can you disrespect someone that you don't have respect for in the first place? I'm not acknowledging the respect I have for him. I'm denying his existence.
Tax Collector's gone off at Degner too. And Curbold's off as well, further down, at the same corner.
He won the ups him by going off in Degner 1 and 2.
Wow. So, I mean, that Ferrari, it does look like it's been through a desert or something with the amount of gravel and dirt on that car now. So, a rough day for the Ferraris, that's for sure. It's not a rough day for the Haas team, particularly for Chris, because he is absolutely flying out front. He is surely, unless there's some crazy end to this race, he is going to win this one, and by some distance. But, meanwhile, further back, there is a battle still for the podium, and Sir Spark is coming under pressure here, Logan.
Yeah, but he's also gained about 7/10 on Vera on this lap as well. So they are slowly catching him up front. Actually, he opens the gap back up after a great final chicane. So Vera's still looking very good here in P2.
Wow. Wow.
No battling down the front stretch on this lap. Alfie close to Codematic, who's close to Ruthless Guy, who's close to Action Rick.
So, a bit of a lull, if you like, in the chaos at the minute, but stay with it, folks, because this could bubble up to a grand finale here. We've got Action Rick running quite nicely in 7th, but he is suddenly now going to come under a heck of a lot of pressure from about 3 cars right behind him, and 3 cars that have been all in the wars tonight of Ruthless Guy, Codematic, and Alfie. They've all had their incidents packed throughout this race, so there's still plenty to decide here. And Kevin Cal now is coming at Ultimate Stan for 4th, and Carabel picks up another penalty. I think he takes the lead for the Darky Award.
Yes, he does. He does take the lead for the Darky Award. And actually, he's the only contender because an unwritten rule is that you need at least 5 seconds of penalties for the Darky Award. So he becomes the first contender.
There you have it. There you have it. So, not too many contenders for the Darky Award tonight, to be fair. It's been a fairly clean race in terms of penalties. I wouldn't say it's been clean other than that. Look at this 4-way scrap now behind Action Rick. Action Rick is going to need to get the elbows out if he wants to hold on to this 7th place here, because they are all queuing up right behind him here.
Yes, they are, and also the gaps ahead are closing a little bit, but not enough for any overtakes to happen. Actually, the gaps have opened up down the front stretch.
Oh, here we go.
Opens up the gap more for P2.
And there goes a Ruthless Guy and Codematic on Action Rick there. And Alfie, all in one straight. That is absolutely brutal on Action Rick there. Absolutely swamped by 3 cars down the main straight there.
I mean, that must have felt about as good as jacking it with sandpaper right there, losing 3 spots going into turn 1. Oh, now he's got grass on his tires. It's just all not going good for him at the moment. But he's still in the race and keeping it going in the right direction, which is a lot better than many drivers had.
Tax Collector off at Degna 1, so another driver to make a mistake there, and he now will come under threat from that pack behind of 3 cars, so he has put himself in a bit of bother, and Ruthless Guy...
Look at the gap.
Yeah, actually, that's a very good spot, yeah, Logan, because look at this, for the final podium spot here, I'd imagine here Sir Spark's soft tires are absolutely in trouble.
Yeah, they look like they're in trouble, or he made a mistake. He's got a little bit of a DRS strain for him behind him with these hard tire runners as we approach 2 to go. As Kreese is about to cross the line here for his penultimate lap. And we'll be looking to see if any overtakes happen down the front stretch. Can I even get a really good exit out of the final corner?
Not quite getting him close enough this time.
Doesn't look good enough for it.
I mean, so Sparks feeling the pressure, though. I mean, he's weaving that down the straight, and there goes a Ruthless Guy on Tax Collector. So Ruthless Guy with the recovery drive here, now up into P6 on those old hard tyres, as Ellis, out of nowhere, is going to snatch the Darky Award here, because he's right up into 13 seconds worth of penalties.
Yeah, he went from 3 to 13 before you can say Darky Award. And, wow. The fight's still on, and Northie goes off.
Oh, we got a car off. That's Ultimate Stan. He's had a massive off there, right off into the gravel, and that blows his podium opportunities here, right off the circuit, and a mistake there. I've done that myself in previous TFR races where you just get too close to the car at the end of the first sector there, and you dip a tire in the gravel, and Ultimate Stan will be so annoyed with himself about that.
Yeah, he will, but it's not all over yet. Still has another lap to work with. Still sitting in a decent position in P5.
This is all Kevin Cal now.
Dramatic getting close to Tax Collector, who does not have DRS on the car ahead.
So, what can Kevin Cal do here? Can he take a first podium in many a season, all the way since he was last in the F2 division? As Ultimate Stan gets a penalty now, so Ruthless Guy is on for a top 5 finish. Yes.
Tax Collector wide.
And there goes.
Oh, and he's going to cut a corner.
Yeah, through pure frustration, you would imagine. But Kevin Cal, then, we're on the final lap. He's not close enough to Sir Spark there. Down the start-finish straight. It's going to come right down to this last lap. We've had a load of shenanigans at the final corner, and look at that.
Oh, Ellis
there.
off.
It gets another penalty for going off the track.
Northie gets around Curbold on track, even though Curbold already has penalties.
Yeah. So, But meanwhile, back at the front, so Spark is still hanging on here, and there is Ultimate Stand just in the background. Ellis gets another penalty. He really is going to secure the Darky Award.
That's going to get Zing out of last running place.
It is indeed. So Zing will gain a point as Ultimate Stand almost clatters into the back of Kevin Cal there in the hairpin. This is going to come right down to the final corners here, but I will keep an eye on Chris because he deserves all the credit here for a fantastic victory. And Veer is going to take a quite sensational podium for the Alpinist. Ellis gets another penalty. He is really going to get disqualified at this rate, that is for sure. But I will go to Chris anytime now. But here is Kevin Cal. He's got another one.
Penalty.
But there is Kevin Cal. He's going to maybe have a little go, but I have to go to Chris. Here he comes up across the line. He wins for the first time ever in the F2 division. What a victory for him. Veer is going to be second. There is Kevin Cal trying to make the pass, but he can't get it on Sir Spark. Veer, the F3 driver, takes a quite incredible second place. Sir Spark then is on the podium. Kevin Cal didn't quite do enough and has to settle for fourth. A Ruthless Guy with a fantastic recovery in fifth. Ultimate Stan is sixth after that penalty, with Tax Collector tumbling down the order with those old soft R's. What a race that was, Logan, and we didn't quite have that battle for the win, but we still have battles all the way throughout.
Zing all the way up into 13th. He gains another position. And Ellis might hold on now. He's spins 46. It on purpose. He's going to finish in reverse. He might finish a lap down with the amount of penalties.
Well, yeah, 46 seconds worth of penalties. I think he probably does. But how he didn't quite get disqualified with 46 seconds worth of penalties, I'm not quite sure. But that is your lot.
It doesn't go by seconds. It goes by amount of penalties.
Well, there you have it. Well, a word on Chris, though, Logan. A dominant victory from him. It didn't quite look like that in qualifying. He had the pace in qualifying, obviously, but it was still very, very close. But after that safety car, nobody was stopping him tonight.
Yeah, everyone else lost time battling with each other, and he didn't. And he was able to just pull away, especially after the safety car, and the poor timing of the safety car affected Ruthless Guy. Ultimate Stand ended up making a mistake, and yeah, that was kind of the top three, and then he was just able to pull away from the rest. And he didn't use mediums and hards for absolutely no reason like some other drivers did.
Yeah. Well, what a result, and what a crazy podium that is. I never thought I'd see that. Driver of the day is Veer. I kind of have to agree with that because of how crazy that is that he is on the podium. He's just messaged the Alpine chat saying, I don't know how I did that. I kind of agree. But Chris then wins with pole position and the fast lap. That's the second race tonight that we've seen that happen. So someone in the air at Suzuka, obviously meaning max points for the race winner. There are your final results. We're going to run out of time and we're not going to be able to run through them all. But a good question for you, Logan. B29 says, after 2 races of the season, what are your title predictions? Now the pecking order with how it goes.
You think I got title predictions after 2 races of F2? That's funny.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I don't have any. There's your answer. Don't got one.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, a lot of drivers there suffering from that whole thing of getting caught up in too many incidents. And, you know, that's a classic case of you need to keep your nose clean, like Veer did. He's, you know, with no disrespect to him, he's a driver in F3, but he kept his nose clean and he's got a second place. We say it so many times, Logan, but that is really what the others have to take note of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep your nose clean, and a little bit of good luck came his way with other people getting involved in offs or a bad safety car timing, and you got to be there to take advantage of others' misfortune by being the best of the rest. That's exactly what he was, and it turned into a P2.
Yeah.
It shows that he has the consistency and maturity to move up.
Absolutely. But obviously next week we've got the Singapore Grand Prix, so that is going to be a very different race once again, a day-to-night race this season, so there could be a bit of a change with tyre temps as well. What's your initial thoughts on that? Obviously that will be leaning a little bit more back in the direction of what we had at Australia, where it's another street circuit, but obviously a very different type of street circuit.
It's going to be chaos, a lot of people hitting walls, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Singapore always produces in TFR, and I'm sure it will be absolutely no different.
Absolutely. Well, that is your lot then from the F2 division for this week of TFR Esports. We'll be back next week for the Singapore Grand Prix, the last of the Asian triple header, if you like, of the beginning of the season, before we head to Kota for the fourth round of the championship. We'll be back next week, and we'll see you then. And that's a wrap.
Why is my phone
Blimey.
going